Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Alex Beyond Thoughts podcast. It is me, your host, Alex. It is I. How are we? How's everyone doing? I know it's literally been like, what, 2 days since I last uploaded, and we are in an era of podcasts, apparently. Whether this lasts for 3 episodes or whether it lasts for 17, we don't know. But again, I kind of made an episode about this, God knows when, a couple of months ago, about no longer sticking to made up bullshit rules in business. And slowly but surely, they've crept back in. And not even crept back in. I've definitely realized how many more I still hold that I wasn't even conscious to a couple of months ago. And it's been a conversation coming up again and again in my conversations with my mentor. And I thought, you know what? Let's talk about it again today. And it's less from the perspective of let's give up bullshit rules and more so like what have we normalized in our industry that actually is that supposed to be normal, or are we just kind of like finding a reason for it to be? Okay, that was pretty vague, but let me dive into this one a bit more. So today it's going to be a really short one, to be honest. I don't think I'm going to be on here long, but I'm wanting to talk about normalizing business gets to be easy in a way that actually just gives you an excuse to do things in shortcuts. And to preface this, I am not saying that you have to make it hard. That is not what I'm saying at all. But what I am saying is you need to not bypass certain levels, especially if you're charging premium prices to your clients. So, what I am saying with this is that if you're posting exclusively free content, you're not charging for any of it, you have no intention to charge your clients. Everything you deliver is free. And at some point in some stage, if they ever get to a point of working with you, then brilliant. Kind of like I imagine Alex Hormozy sort of operates his business model. He puts out hundreds of pieces of free content. He has free books, or I think he has to charge like 99p or something for them because of like having to register them on platforms. I don't know. Something about Amazon. I don't know. Anyway, so he charges like free or free 99 for any of his stuff online. And he asks in return that when you're a multi-millionaire business, you're a multi-million dollar business, you're a multiple six-figure business, that you then get in contact with him to scale your business further. And that's his business model, right? So for the average Joe, you can't actually be in business with Alex until you're at the stage where he wants to be in business with you. Um, so this is where I'm saying, in terms of that, you can do whatever the fuck you want with your content. You can make it as fancy, as lazy, as free, as whatever as you want, because actually you're not expecting anything from your client in return. You're not expecting for them to actually take this and do something with you from it, right? But for everyone else that are selling products and services online, and I'm not going to talk about any other place because I don't know that well enough, but I'm talking about specifically in the coaching business, online, on social media, you're selling your products, right? We need to start normalizing or even just getting better at having good products, having good services, having great visuals, having great internet connection when you host a Zoom call. Like some of these things, some of these really basic things are not really standards being met. They're kind of just being bypassed and said, well, that's okay, it gets the message out. And here is like an issue where I think I come down on between perfectionism and actually just a great product. Now, some people can sell hundreds of thousands of their products with the most basic visuals, the most basic marketing, the most basic like actual product or service because it does exactly what your customer needs, right? If you sell a hairband, your customer just wants the hairband to work. Like, but with the coaching industry, I find sometimes people get really absorbed in making it as easy as possible and missing the point of the client experience and missing the point of good products, good services, good client retention, like making your customer happy, making sure your clients' needs are fulfilled, making sure that the services and products you offer are actually meeting the standards that you're charging. And absolutely get this back, right? Like, I believe people attract money, people receive money in a very potent way, especially in this industry. And I'm sure that for the majority of people, the products and services you're selling absolutely meet your price criteria, right? But there is also this element of, where are you bypassing your client experience in order to make it easy for yourself? Where have you set up Zoom calls that are faulty, that you don't have good internet for, that you're in a crowded cafe and there's noise in the background and your clients can't really hear you, or you've got a podcast but you have the most budget operation possible, instead of actually using the money that your clients invest in you to invest in your own business and to upgrading your client experience? Where could you be improving your website for your client experience? Where could you be improving any part of your business that your client has to interact with and receive their product through, in order to make it the best experience for your client? And this is something I'm really having like a transformation on, something I'm really developing on myself. And it's kind of hard when, definitely a projection right now, but I'm just going to be real and honest with you. This is a projection I'm feeling. It's hard when you see other people earning insane amounts of money whilst also bypassing some of these things, whilst also knowing that their customer experience isn't top notch when they're charging thousands of pounds, dollars, whatever, to their clients. When you know that their messaging is really bog standard and it's it's really generic, and obviously it works. That's not the point. It definitely works. Everyone wouldn't be as successful as they are if these things weren't working. But it begs the question for me, and with my own projection, that where is the client getting the most out of what you're offering and the products you're offering and services you're offering? Where is your client experience actually being improved? Because if you're doing the same thing you were doing at 3 clients to what you're now doing at 300 clients, there needs to be a level, like, there needs to be levels to this game, you know? And I think it does a disservice to your clients when you kind of bypass these processes. And like, just because Zoom works doesn't mean it's the best thing out there. Just because Voxer works doesn't mean it's the best thing out there. Just because Canva works does not mean Canva graphics are the best thing out there. And it's really hard when you know things can be improved, but you can't do that, right? So for me, I know how much of my client experience can be improved, but I'm not yet at the level to improve those things. And I'm gonna do everything in my power, as free as possible, as low cost as possible, to improve my client experience. But until I get to a point where isn't my cash flow is at a stage where I can improve my client experience even more, then I have to stick with what I've got, right? But there are also people out there that are sticking with what they've got just because it's easier, just because it gives them less of a headache, just because it means they can only spend 3 hours in their backhand rather than 6 that week. Sorry, my alarm's going off. So what I'm saying here is that actually it's time to review what our clients are experiencing through us. It's time to review the quality of the platforms and the places that we host our content. It's time to improve the cameras on our Zooms. It's time to improve the microphones on our podcasts. It's time to improve like your overall minute details of your client experience that can actually make it better, because we're all in this business to transform people, to make other people's lives better, to make our own lives better and more convenient and happier and healthier and all these things, right? But it's hard to do that when all these like tiny little things get in the way of the message you're trying to deliver. And that's the point of this. Your client experience is the way that these clients get their transformation. So if your camera is grainy as fuck on Zoom and I can barely hear you, if you're in a crowded cafe and you haven't even got like earphones in or anything so you can hear your clients or they can hear you properly, or your Canva graphics are really convoluted, or they're too basic and it's basically just like a quote that your clients can't really get the most out of or really understand very well, or you post photos with no captions and you kind of just expect people to understand what you're trying to say. You post reels that go way too quickly so your clients can't actually understand what it is that you're trying to put across. Some of these things like are just the tiniest tweaks that can actually really improve your business, your structure, your client experience, your client retention, the money you make. Because I think I'm going to trust a coach more if I really resonate with their content because it's designed for me, not just because it's what's easiest for them to create. And yes, having freedom-based business like this in the coaching industry is fucking amazing. Absolutely. But also, there's a level that you need to respect your clients and respect the money and the energy and the trust they're putting in you to absorb from you and to try and transform through your modalities. We need to be making this the best possible experience for them so they can have the best possible transformation. And thank you for coming to my TED Talk. That is it. That is my thought. That is my slight projection, or even big projection. You never know. I could come back on in 2 weeks' time and say this whole episode is a load of BS, and I was just in my feels and feeling like projecting on you all. So we never know. That is the beauty of this work. That is the beauty of this industry. I get to change my mind, and I've changed my mind on this, and I've developed my thoughts on this, and I thought I'd share them with you. So thank you for listening to this one. If you have any thoughts on this, leave them in the show notes. Not in the show notes, leave them in the poll or message me on Instagram. I'd love to hear from you. It's just Alex Beyond Thoughts as always. Message me on Threads even. We can start a thread on it. Love that for us. Okay, I'll stop rambling. I will see you in the next one.